Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Hey, good morning, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X as well as YouTube. I hope everyone's enjoying this beautiful Sunday morning as much as I am. We have Game 7 between the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets today, so we're going to get into that. We're going to break down everything I'm looking at in this game, where my money is going. But first, let's talk about what we saw yesterday out there on the ice. The Dallas Stars taking game number 7. I just didn't see that one coming. I did think Colorado had every opportunity of getting that win. Now, we made some money on the props yesterday. We know the Avs, they just went through the roof on that money line. They opened at minus 142 in the morning. At puck drop, they were like a minus 170 favorite. The Dallas Stars had so much plus money. Now, did I hedge? No, I didn't hedge out on the Dallas Stars, and I wish I would have, because that would have been the perfect hedging situation, especially because I took the Avs before the game 6 to win game 7. I'd already had a couple of bets in like that. I should have really jumped on that hedging spot. So hedging comes in to play in good situations, but it was crazy. Yeah, John, you hitting there with the Dallas Stars. Congratulations on that. And good morning to you. Nice to see you here today. So Scheifele is out. It is not good. Mark Scheifele out of the lineup here for the Winnipeg Jets. So let's just touch on that Avs series. The Dallas Stars won, so they will face the winner of the Blues and the Winnipeg Jets today. So this team is moving on to the second round. We cashed on Nathan MacKinnon for the anytime goal at plus 130. We got Mikko Rantanen for the goal at plus 230, and talk about revenge against his former team, saying they're his brothers out there, which they are. As soon as that final bell goes, they are back to being friends. But Mikko Rantanen really showing the Avs what they lost in trading him away. Wyatt Johnson was also able to get us a point. Missed on Cale Makar, missed on the Avs, and missed on overtime. So close to that game going to OT. So let's jump into this. The St. Louis Blues taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Game 7. No better 2 words in sports is game 7 for me. We have the Winnipeg Jets, a minus 172 favorite. God, this feels like yesterday, right? We had Colorado, such a favorite. The juice just getting out of control. And then the St. Louis Blues at plus 142. Now, the storyline of this series has been home ice advantage. Winnipeg hasn't been able to show up in St. Louis, and St. Louis unable to show up in Winnipeg. We also have question marks around goaltending. What will we see out of Connor Hellebuyck while he's been strong at home? How rattled is he going into this one? Pulled in all 3 road games and replaced by Eric Comrie. I don't ever remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, if it was before I really got so deep into hockey, when we were in a series in the playoffs and a goaltender had been pulled out there on the road in every single road game. I cannot even think of a time that this would have happened, but let me know if you do remember a time when we did see a goaltender pulled out there on the road in each road game in a playoff series. I just haven't seen it before. So you got to think Connor Hellebuyck's head is a little frazzled here, but on home ice, this is where the Winnipeg Jets have excelled against the Blues. They've got that last change. They've had the support for him now with Mark Scheifele out of the lineup. I'm still seeing game time decisions. If you guys are seeing out, I trust you. Mark Scheifele is a huge hole for this team. We know how strong he is at putting that puck in the back of the net. Let's quickly look at a couple things here and the history of game 7s between these teams. So first, let's look at the St. Louis Blues. This will be their 19th game 7. So this franchise has been in these situations. In these game 7s, they've gone 10-8 so far. So in their last game 7 victory, it was in the Stanley Cup Finals back in 2019 when they hoisted the cup. So they've been under that pressure before. Jordan Binnington was the goaltender there. That was a 4-1 win for them back then. So you know that they have the experience. They have the ability to withstand the pressure of a game 7. when we look at the Winnipeg Jets, they've only played one other game 7 in franchise history, which is so crazy to think of. In 2018, they defeated the Nashville Predators, I believe it was, to move on to the Western Conference Finals. So that was a game 7. So that's their only other game 7 experience. So we've got one team playing their 19th game 7. And they've gone 10-8 in those 18. And then we have another team that they've won the game 7 that they faced, but they've only had to do one game 7 elimination style. Now we're looking at a goaltending. Jordan Binnington here, 2-0 in his career when playing in a game 7, including a 38 save performance in that cup win back in 2019. So he's withstood that pressure. Jordan Binnington is a goaltender I can trust in. What are we going to see out of Connor Hellebuyck? This is my biggest issue here. Can Connor Hellebuyck get his head on right at home? I do believe so. I have to have faith in Connor Hellebuyck. And you guys know, it did me dirty. I had faith in him out there on the road. I thought, okay, the road trend will be broken. I really believe that they could get the win. Now, I thought the Avs could get the win yesterday as well. So if you guys want to fade me and just look at player props with me and not take the Winnipeg Jets, I completely understand. But I am looking for Connor Hellebuyck to shake that monkey of the overtime, all right, or of playoffs. He has just crumbled in his career in the playoffs, and he needs to snap out of it. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if he's overthinking out there on the ice. He has to get in the zone, and I am going to have faith that Connor Hellebuyck can get in the zone. I love the playmakers in front of him, and I do think he will get those block shots in front of him. He'll get the support by this offense, but I do think this has to be a lower scoring battle here. The St. Louis Blues will want to rack up those goals, rattle Connor Hellebuyck quick, and if they do, they're going to run away with this. If you see the St. Louis Blues go up 2-0 in the first period, I'd like 3.5 on that puck line at that point with the St. Louis Blues, because once the bleeding starts, it's not going to stop. I do think the defense will lock down, really limit the St. Louis Blues. We should see a 0-0 first period going into that second. I'm not going to touch the first period. I'm not going to touch the total in this one, except for alting it. So I'm not going to touch a 5.5. I don't like what we're getting on the 5.5. Let's look at that. Under 5.5 minus 184. I can't bet a minus 184. I can't take this one to go over because of what I think Connor Hellebuyck is going to be able to do, and Jordan Binnington. Faith in Jordan Binnington. You guys, if you have faith in any goaltender, you've got to have faith in Jordan Binnington. And I don't think this can be a runaway game. So the under 5.5 minus 184, I am taking this under 4.5. I know it's scary to look at this game and take it under a 4.5. This has to be a 2-1 game style for me to feel comfortable, and that's exactly where I think it goes, is 2-1. I think it's a 1-1 going to overtime. This is how much I depend on both of these goaltenders to have the game that we expected to see all series, right? Like, you look at this series and every game except one has combined for 7 goals. It's been absolutely insane. This should have been our low scoring goaltending battle out there on the ice. And that's exactly the opposite of what we've seen out there. Both of these teams need to lock down on defense. Neither can make a mistake tonight. 2-1 game going to overtime. I'll take the overtime bet. 1-1 game going to overtime. I'll take the overtime bet coming in at plus 320. And then I'll take the Winnipeg Jets to win it in overtime. I think they can get it done. The problem, again, is with that juice. So I can't bet them straight up on the money line. But I do think if we do see a better line at some point, you can look at that. I'll take the overtime. I take the under 4.5 at plus 152. Now let's look at those playmakers. You guys know when I'm looking at a lower scoring game, I don't like to look at a lot of people for those goals out there on the ice, but I have to look here at a couple of players for their shots, their block shots, and the anytime goal. I am going to play on it. Looking at Robert Thomas for the St. Louis Blues, we'll start there. He's had 6 assists over the past 4 games. He hasn't been racking up those shots on goal. I would avoid Robert Thomas for the St. Louis Blues for those shots or for the goal. You could look at Braden Shen as well as Jordan Kyrou for the St. Louis Blues. I'd feel a lot more comfortable with either of those guys if you want to play someone for the anytime goal. When we look at Kyrou, 13 shots on goal, 2 goals, 0 assists. So I would look there. Kyrou and Braden Shen. I'm not going to touch anyone here for the Blues, but just to give you those options, I might take Robert Thomas, though. for a point tonight if I can throw it into some sort of parlay. When we look at the Winnipeg Jets, this is where I want to focus a little bit more on my player props because I do think the Winnipeg Jets will walk away with the win. Josh Morrissey, 2+ block shots on net. I love this bet, and I'm actually going to take it to 3+ as well. That's coming in at +100 for the 2+, 3+ block shots on net at +300. He knows he has to support his goaltender. If he doesn't give Connor Hellebuyck the support, they will be packing their bags tonight here at home and headed golfing tomorrow. So look for Josh Morrissey to be impactful. Last game he had 3 block shots, 3 block shots on net, 10 block shots over the course of this series. So again, Josh Morrissey, 2+ block shots at +100 and 3+ at +300. Then I'm going to look at Kyle Connor for his shots on goal. Kyle Connor needs to step up, and he can't be limited to only 2 shots on goal. We did see him in the last game get 3 shots on goal, and in game 1, he was able to get 5. He needs to show up like in game 1. Kyle Connor for 4+ shots on goal tonight, coming in at +150. I know it's asking a lot. He's only gone over this once, and that was in game 1. But Kyle Connor needs to be playing his A game tonight. Give me Kyle Connor for 4+ shots on goal. Ehlers for the anytime goal. You look at Ehlers getting back into this lineup. He missed the first 5 of this series, and he came in the last game for game 6. In game 6, he was able to play just over 16 minutes, had 3 shots on goal, and that's him getting his feet back under him. Look at Ehlers tonight. If you want to take a goal scorer for the Winnipeg Jets, that is where my money is going. He's almost 3-1 to your money at +290. He's on that second line in the top power play unit. He's going to get more time, especially with Mark Scheifele not out there on the ice. On the season, Ehlers had 24 goals, 63 points in 69 games played. So look for him to really come out really impactful for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. So that is where I'm going with the player props. You know, there's so many playmakers here to look at. Other than Morrissey, Kyle Connor, and Ehlers, you could look at Perfetti, Vladardi. There's the list just goes on for the Winnipeg Jets. I do think they get it done today. So let me know who you are liking out there to really make an impact. Connor Hellebuyck, like I said, he has to step up. You look at Connor Hellebuyck, though, and if you believe into the fact that he is going to choke again, definitely look at those goal scorers for the St. Louis Blues, because when we look at Connor Hellebuyck, he's allowed 3 or more goals in the past 4 games, posting a 1-3 record with a .776 save percentage and a 5.92 goals against average. Like, that is just not cool, Connor Hellebuyck. What the hell are you doing out there? Also, you look at him postseason over his career. He has crumbled. Connor Hellebuyck needs to stop the doubters today. He's gone 5-11 in the postseason with an .858 save percentage. It's just not good enough here. Facing Jordan Binnington, who has been able to not melt under the pressure, and we've seen Connor Hellebuyck melt. So if you're taking the St. Louis Blues, I completely understand why you are there. Okay. Makar, yeah, Cale Makar. I can't believe he didn't get a point last night. That is for sure. Good morning, Larry. Good to see you here. Happy Sunday. Just wanted to say hi. Good. Thanks, John. All the best in all of your bets today. Yeah, he definitely made them cry last night, Mikko Rantanen. It was great to actually see his ability on that ice. Like, Mikko Rantanen is so fast out there. I still can't believe he got the Hattie. That was nuts. We took him at +230 for the goal, and if we would have had him for 2+ goals even, or the 2+ points. Now, I wanted to get the 2+ points in. I told you guys about that. I never got there. I never got it in. I totally forgot before I went on the grid. Hellebuyck is a different goalie at home in the playoffs. Yeah, you're completely right. On the road, it's a problem. It's mental. I agree. He has those issues out there on the road, so he should be able to get them the win today. You tweeted the write-up via screenshot. Not sure what you mean. Let me know what you're meaning. Connor, anytime goal. Yeah, Kelly, Kyle Connor should be able to come out and get that anytime goal today. I'm with you. He needs to come out so strong. Thomas also gets the points for St. Louis and the Jets. I agree with you. Bounce back for Helly over 21.5. Save shots on goal. He has to have that bounce back. Let's go Jets. Maddie JC, good to see you here. Yeah, he has to have that bounce back, right? Like, I really do think Connor Hellebuck at home should be able to come to play. So, recapping what I'm liking today, you guys, it is, and I've got a parlay for you, so don't go anywhere. It is the under 4.5 in this one. I really do think this is the goaltending duel that we've been looking for all series. So the under 4.5 at plus 158 instead of taking the under 5.5 at minus 158. I'll take the overtime bet here coming in at plus 320. I will take Josh Morrissey for 2+ blocked shots, on goal at plus 100, 3+ block shots as well at plus 300. Then I'll look at Kyle Connor. I do think he has the opportunity of getting the goal. I think it's worth a shot, but I'll also look at Kyle Connor for the 4+ shots on goal at plus 150. He needs to step up. Then I'll look at Ehlers. I love Ehlers for the anytime goal at plus 290. Ehlers, you could also look at for 3+ shots on goal, which you did get in the last game at minus 104. And then I would fire him all the way up to 4+ shots on goal for Ehlers coming in at plus 250. Robert Thomas, I would look at for the point, the assist for the St. Louis Blues. And then if you want those goal scorers, I'd go Jordan Binghamton and Braden Shan for the St. Louis Blues. But this is going to be one hell of a game out there, you guys. I really do think we get overtime. And Richard, if St. Louis wins, I do think this is an over game. I completely hear you on that because that means that they're hitting Connor Hellebuck, and they've proven that they can hit him. Now, they've hit him out there on the road, and you've got to think Connor Hellebuck should come in more focused here at home. So we will see. Okay, Larry's parlay before we get to mine. Parlay, Connor 2+ shots, Morrissey over 1.5 blocked, Ehlers, Thomas, Cairo 1+ points, plus 1,100. Larry, I absolutely love it. So where I'm going with my parlay, you guys, it's coming in at almost 10-1 to your money. It's plus 968 right now on FanDuel. I'll take Kyle Connor for 3+ shots on goal, Ehlers for 3+ shots on goal, Jordan Kyrou for 3+ shots on goal, and the Winnipeg Jets on the money line. That is my 4-leg same game parlay. Now, if you can put block shots in there, add Josh Morrissey for the 2+ block shots on net. It's just FanDuel will not allow you to add those block shots on goal. They also weren't allowing me for the goal scorers, and that's why I've got Ehlers for his shots over his anytime goal, but I do think Ehlers would be the goal scorer that I would add in there if the books were allowing me to do it. So you guys, all the best in all your bets. Again, thank you so much for joining me here for Puck It with Jo on the daily. Hit that like, hit that retweet button. Now, I am live on the grid from 3 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you do come over and join me over there. Scott Wetzel and myself for 4 straight hours. We'll be talking everything happening on the hardwood and the diamonds and the ice today. And then tomorrow, noon Eastern, we will kick off round 2. We'll be looking at the Florida Panthers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. That game will be, the puck will drop tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for Puck It with Jo tomorrow, you guys. I look forward to seeing you then. But hopefully you guys will join me this afternoon on the grid. Don't miss out. We have a lot of fun over there. You guys, I'll talk to you later. All the best in all of your bets.